Hi everyone and welcome back to Alejandro HD. And it's been a while since I've posted anything. I think I maybe say that every single time I come on here. But I thought I would jump straight into my review of Double Exposure. I know I just done the trailer of it, and I hadn't done anything since then. I wasn't. It wasn't just because I was waiting for Double Exposure to come out. I do actually have some other video ideas in the pipeline. It's just so hard to sit down and do them because I'm so busy all the time. But I have finally got 5 minutes. I finally got 5 minutes, so I was just thought I would give my overall thoughts on this game. There will be spoilers, so if you haven't finished it or if you've not yet played it, you prepare for that. That's just something I do in this channel with my thoughts on. If my volume's a bit off or anything like that, I do apologise. It is a new system that I'm using. I'm still getting to grips with it. So, double exposure. Where to begin with double exposure? Um, overall, overall it was good. Overall, I liked it. There was some things that, kind of, just not. I don't know. I just never got some parts, and some parts I felt were a bit overcomplicated when they didn't need to be. Some parts were maybe just dragged out a little bit. But I thought I would give a brief and then maybe do more in-depth videos as and when I feel like it, because that's how I roll. So episode one, I suppose, is like episodic. It's a little bit like episodic. Um, how it used to be in the first one. Um, we see Max as you know this. Well, I suppose this is the first thing that annoyed me. Actually, I'm going straight into the things that I didn't like. Um, we're not we're not really told what Max actually does. Um, we see her at this college. She does seminars. We never see her do a seminar, but anyway, she's not a teach. She's not a lecturer. She's definitely not a student. But she just kind of lives on this big, massive house in campus and is in with all the faculty, but doesn't have a lecturer job. That bit was a bit unclear. I mean, I tried reading through the journal aspect of the game because you get to see what she's writing about, and there's entries before the game starts that sort of tell us little bits and bobs about her life before she got to Caledon. But um, yeah, that was a bit. It would have been nice. It would have just been nice to know what she actually does, and not have to try and figure it out. Because the way she interacts with like students and faculty members are the same. Don't know. That bit was just a bit weird for me. Um, and of course, we'll get a little bit into the characters as well. Um, the first, of course, I think like Deck Nine were really trying to give us the option, the not the option, but the kind of continuation of the first game's final choice. You know, Bay or Bay, and that came out in 2014. If you've not caught or 15, you've not caught up by now, then what are you doing. Um, if I mean, obviously, if you've watched my other Life is Strange channel videos and so on, you'll know that there's always going to be saving Chloe, but that was handled interestingly. Saving Chloe, of course, she is alive, but you're no longer with her. You don't have any contact with her. Uh, the there's no Chloe in the game apart from previous voice, like memories, but you don't actually ever see her. Just hear her. Yeah, I was kind of hoping for maybe a little Chloe cameo at some point, but we'll see what happens. If they do continue to pursue the Max timeline. The setup, I suppose, was good. Like we've got our new colleagues. See, this is the thing because I don't know if they're friends, colleagues, so I suppose friends. Safi and Moses. and then you've got the actual lecturers like Gwen and Lucas, and then the head teacher Yasmin. And we'll get a little bit into them. Um, so that's kind of the start, like how that sets it up. You know, like Chloe's still, well, I mean, if you've chose to say Chloe's still alive, Chloe's still alive. Arcadia Bay, all that stuff is in a memories box. It was nice. It's a nice way that they done it. I think it's good to have that argument of living in the past versus the future. Why Chloe and Max split up was because Chloe wanted to live in the future, and Max was stuck in the past, something like that. I think that's the excuse they gave. Yeah, so that's kind of like the first sort of little part of the game. You know, you're kind of because you're treating it like a direct sequel to Life. The first Life is Strange. You know, you're kind of not really. There's no second or third things anywhere, which was okay. I mean, I thought maybe we could have seen some callbacks to some other characters, but you know, it is what it is. And then we had um, the friends, Safi. Safi um, is a very complex character, very complex, very hard to. I mean, I suppose depending on what choices you made. I've only done the first playthrough, and I've done my choices. I don't know if she's maybe less of a, less of a very annoying person. Not annoying person, but just the things that she does. Kind of see why she does it. She's very much a vengeful person, out for revenge for her pal who died. Her book got cancelled. Uh, Something happened with Lucas's son. See, the thing with this is the thing with the game, that this is what I was saying about gets dragged on about. The plot points are a little bit muddled. Things are, a bit unneeded. I mean, it's kind of like, yes, the first 3 episodes or 3 levels, Max is, you're there and you're like, yeah, let's solve this murder mystery. This is peak Life is Strange, and then you find out that Safi is a shapeshifter, and then it kind of just goes, I mean, it's fine. It's done in a way that they can open up a sequel for this one, and that's fine. And I've got a really interesting theory and point about the very end of the game, but we'll get there when we get there. So Safi, yeah, just overall okay character, kind of like I was reading someone who put a comment saying Safi's a lot like Chloe if she had powers, and I thought that was quite an interesting take. In some capacity, yes, I'd say it's probably true. But yeah, it's hard because we've got a lot of character development with Safi that we only really get after she's dead, or until we find out. It's just hard. It's just hard with it. It's just a very complex character, as I said. Moses, getting on to Moses. I love Moses. Moses is great. His telescopes and his very, very nice character. There was not. I think sometimes, like especially with the first Life is Strange, the red herring being Nathan being the criminal, and then it was actually Jefferson. I kind of thought maybe they were going to do that here with either Moses or Lucas. Especially because of Lucas, because he's a lecturer, but we'll get into him in a minute. But overall, I really liked Moses, and he was very cool and helpful in the later episodes as well, which was nice. Speaking of Lucas, he is your classic egotistical guy, I suppose. The problem with Lucas is that we only get to hate him because of his relationship with Safi and what other people tell us he is. That kind of annoyed me a little bit. Like, let us make our own opinions of the guy. Why do we have to just say, oh, Safi said that he's a knob, and then everyone else is saying he's not nice? It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, he is. When you speak to him, he's very self-centered and egotistical. But let us make that decision. It was a very force-fed thing, I thought. Gwen, interesting character. Nice to see a trans person actually portrayed in a game. That was a nice thing. Don't see that a lot in games. So hats off to Deck Nine there for you know giving us that. She's very cool, very badass character, standing up to the establishment and all that. Really like Gwen. Um, I did think that they again like Lucas they were going to try and throw a red herring in there, try and find all these people that we might have to hate because they done something to Safi and maybe they're the murderer or she's the murderer kind of thing. But yeah, overall, like Gwen. Gwen was cool. Amanda, I liked Amanda and I didn't like Amanda. I liked Amanda because she's supposed to be one of two love interests. Of course, Amanda and Vin, whatever route you go down, don't think it really matters too much. But um, she was very much. I think she was a bit of a. It's hard because when you play a game like this, obviously you already know Max, you know her story. You kind of are her when you play the game. Of course, you are her when you play the game, but you kind of have that in your head. And when you get introduced to like a romantic character, they're kind of the way that they treat Max in terms of like how Amanda treats Max after Safi dies. It's kind of, I mean, it's obviously they're not really boy like girlfriend or whatever. Like they're not together, but she doesn't. I don't know. It's just a weird one. I didn't mind Amanda and I liked her. I liked her bits and her comedy thing was quite funny. Um, Vin again. I didn't like Vin. Vin was a bit. Well, Finn was a bit of a CD, but not nice. Didn't like Vin. Everything had to be a sex joke. I mean, it's in the end though. Everyone it comes a point where they're just like, right, come on, like there's enough's enough. I get it. It's funny the first time, yeah. And then this whole Abraxas thing as well. They were trying to push it like the Vortex Club. The difference between the Vortex Club and Abraxas is the Vortex Club actually like was a big part of the game in Life is Strange 1. And this Abraxas is just this like skull and crossbones secret society thing that you just don't really care about. No, it's not. It doesn't really do anything with the game. It's mentioned a lot, and it's kind of this is kind of the thing that I was talking about with Max. With is she a colleague? Is she a student? Why does she care about this so-called secret society? Why is it even brought up? Should just little things like that. A little bit irritating. Um, but yeah, so the powers. Okay, so what I liked about Deck Nine is as soon as the game starts, obviously I think every person who played the game, the first thing they try to do is rewind. I'm guilty of it, and I'm sure everyone else is. The little mind, like in our monologues, like, oh no, I can't do that anymore. Oh, I've not done this since high school. I thought that was great. I thought that was a nice little touch. That. Moving on to the splitting the timelines between alive and dead, Safi. It was an interesting idea, good concept, but it's just so. Uh, like, like I don't understand. I don't understand it, to be honest. Like, is alive Safi's timeline exactly the same? Like, are we living in the same world? If like the day after the when you're looking at the meteorite, is Safi alive and everyone's just all fine? Like, that's kind of the idea, but everyone just seems to be a little bit different. I know it's like grief obviously changes things and people like, there'll be different reactions and stuff, but I just think that that's where it gets really muddled because it starts off okay and then it sort of this Lucas has got a restraining order against Safi because something happened to their son, and then you're like, eh, and then oh, like this Gwen has been selling to drugs to people on campus, and then oh, Amanda doesn't like you because you never messaged her back, and then you're like, but then Moses is the same, yeah, and then you had that police detective who was investigating Safi's murder. He disappeared off the face of the planet, and then that was it. I mean, they had that little text conversation with Moses saying, "Oh, I probably, something to do with timelines and realities and all that." But like, what happened? Uh, it's had a lot of there was a lot of things that were a bit left unanswered, and I get that they've set up for a sequel, so maybe we'll get some more answers in the next one. I am not sure. Uh, but yeah, if you had chosen the, I don't know if the outcome is different from the one that I chose versus what happens at the end, but the whole Safi thing, look at Safi asking Max to join or stand by her, or like not stand by her essentially, and I chose not to stand by Safi because I didn't like what she was doing. Personal opinion, I didn't. I thought it was all just a bit much, and I thought that that was a very interesting thing. This is what I was talking about earlier, my theory kind of thing. This reminds me of, right. I don't know if anyone else thought this, and if you did, I'd be very interested to know. Right. This reminds me of Magneto and Charles Xavier. Right now, let me explain. Right, from X Men. Right. So they're not exactly, well, they are enemies, but they're not really enemies. They're kind of like Magneto wants to do one thing with the mutants, and Charles Xavier wants to do another thing. Safi wants to find more people with powers and become gods. Very Magneto like. Yeah, okay. Max doesn't want to open a school for gifted, talented people or whatever, like what Charles does. But I think that that's a very cool thing, and I think that's maybe something that they're trying to like push. I don't know. Maybe that's just not true. But that's how I interpreted it, and like that could open the door for so many possibilities. Like, could we see a Life is Strange 5, 4, 5, whatever it is, with Daniel and Sean and Alex somehow, and Max, and then like 2 versus 2 or something like that. Like, oh well, she can rewind time and he can make things fly, and Alex has her like mind powers, and then Safi can shapeshift. Could we see some sort of battle? And then Diamond at the end, Diamond with her nosebleed, could she have something as well? See, there's lots of things. There's lots of things, and they've left it open. So it's kind of one of these ones where we're excited, but we're also a little bit. Well, I feel a little bit. I don't know, not let down. Just a little bit. Like there could have been more to it. There could have been more to it. It didn't feel rushed, which was good. The graphics were amazing. I loved the graphics. So well done. The soundtrack as well, not as good as the first Life is Strange, but that was kind of maybe of its time. I'm not really into the type of like sort of newer music that they had on the Double Exposure, but there's still some good tracks. Um, the setting, Caledon University, the Snapping Turtle, all of that was good. There wasn't much in terms of interiors that we had maybe in the other Life is Strange games. But that kind of was fine because we were just sort of confined to one area. It wasn't like a whole world tour like what you had with Life is Strange 2, or consigned to like one school in the first one, or an idyllic little town like the third one. But you know, going on the idyllic little town, it's kind of the same thing. Um, the last episode or mission or level was kind of a not a mirror image, but kind of the same type of creepiness that we had with the first one. How everything just goes completely off the rails. Max starts going, start going into other things and doing things and whatever, and it was nice. It was a nice callback, but could they have done it differently? That's kind of where I kind of lost track a little bit with the game. Kind of, you know, um, it wasn't bad. It just didn't really seem like it was meant for anything other than padding out time till we got to the end, and there wasn't really any big reveal. It just kind of was like, Safi's a knob. But then we found out that she's been hurt by all these people, so it's kind of fair enough. But like, what was the end goal of it all, kind of thing? I don't know. Like, I don't want to hate it. I don't want to sound like I'm moaning, but it's just my first raw. Like, I've just finished the game, so I'm like raw at coming in. Like, this is my unfiltered thoughts, and what I could think about, what we could talk about with the characters and so on. But yeah, so that's kind of my first thoughts. I will probably, if you want, go into more detail about the characters, about the gameplay, about my theories on what's going to happen next. Perchance, can't speak. But if you've made it this far, well done, because that's 20 minutes. Wow, didn't expect I could talk that long. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I will try and come back for more videos and do things, and Christmas is nearly here, so that means Advent calendar with beers, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But I'll keep you posted on my little communities page and what's happening with that. Anyway, if you have stayed this long, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.